All right, welcome to Frank Teaches DevOps. In this Friday teaser, I call it Friday teaser. I am going to be describing how to build um, a a Docker file, right, into an image and push or publish the image to Docker registry. Okay, so this video is about build and publish Docker images to Docker Hub using Jenkins. All of this is going to be done automated. All right, all of this is going to be automated. Okay, so this is my workflow. All right, so I'm going to have GitHub, Jenkins, and Docker. Okay, so on GitHub, I'm going to create two files. One is a Jenkins file, and the other is the Docker file. Jenkins file is going to have my Jenkins workflow. All right, the build phases. All right, and the Docker file is how you're going to have configuration for creating an image. Okay, then I'm going to integrate my GitHub repository in Jenkins, and finally, I will now create a pipeline that will push the built image towards Docker Hub, to my Docker Hub. Okay, so let's see. So the first thing first, I may need to install Git, Jenkins, and Docker on my virtual machine. Okay, so all of these I have done. So if you've not seen my previous video on installing Jenkins, please kindly watch at my on my watch kindly click on this video. There's going to be a link that is going to point you to this getting started with Jenkins, my previous video. Okay, all right, so let's get started. Okay, so here is my virtual machine. So if you can see on this virtual instance, I have installed Git. Let me check my Git version. Let me check my Docker version. Okay, all right. So do Jenkins as well. I also have Jenkins version. Okay. Mm, mm. So there's Jenkins here. For me to have, there's Jenkins here. Okay. So yeah. So quickly, let's hop onto my Jenkins dashboard. So my Jenkins dashboard runs on port 8080. So this IP is the IP to the server that Jenkins is running from. So Jenkins is running from this machine, and this instance, I've deployed this instance from AWS. All right. So here it is. Here it is. Okay. So now I just want to show us something. What the pipeline looks like. Just something. Straightforward something. So let's click on new. I want to create a simple pipeline. Let me call that pipeline and click on OK. So in this demo, I'm going to be before I go into the main demo of deploying to Docker Hub, I just want to show us I just want to give us an introduction to pipeline, right? So we have a feel of how a pipeline actually works. Okay, so now here's my pipeline. So pipeline is giving me two options, the definition. So the pipeline script means that I may have to define my pipeline scripts directly inside of Jenkins. And if I'm using pipeline script from SCM, so SCM is my GitHub, right? It's my source control manager. So my source control manager is GitHub. So on the source control manager, it's expected that I have a file called Jenkinsfile, okay, as it is on our diagram. So I'm going to create these two files. If I'm using the second option, which I'm going to use in our when we start the main part. All right. So this I'm just want to create something very simple, very direct. Okay. So I want to write my Jenkins script directly inside of Jenkins. So I'll say pipeline agent. Define the agent. The agent is agent that listens to Jenkins request on the node. Agent is any, and then stages. Okay, stages. Then stage. My first stage here is git version. All right. So this is a function to define it. Then say steps. So step open brace. So your step is I'm running a simple what's it called? A simple um first let me print my environment variable. Print your environment variable. Okay. Then run your git version. Git version. All right. So that's that first phase. That's that first stage. Okay. This is the first stage. So copy all of this stage, copy it, replicate it. But this should be our second stage. This stage will be Docker version. I want to get the version of my Docker. So I don't need this part here anymore. So I'll say Docker what? Version. Alright? Docker version. Okay, so this step is Docker version. That's all. This is all I need. So click on apply and save. This is everything about pipeline. So let's build. Click on build now. So click on build now. Let's see if everything goes fine. We should have a green check. Great. So my first stage is to get the Git version, and the second stage is to get Docker version, and so on and so forth. Okay, so let's see the console output of this build number. So I'm going to click on this build number. All right, I click on console output and see what did we do. Okay, so the first phase is print environment variables. So these are all the environment variables on this machine. Build ID, okay, build underscore ID, Git version, this is Git version, Docker version, here is the Docker version, and it was successful. So this is just pipeline in a hurry. Yes, pipeline in a hurry. Okay, so now let's take it more advanced. More advanced is now we want to implement this concept, what we have here. So for that now we have to hop onto my GitHub repository and then create this stuff. So let's go to GitHub. So this is just I created a repository called Jenkins. Okay. So in this repository, I'm going to add two files, Jenkins file and Dockerfile. So I'm click on add file, create a file. So let me call this file Dockerfile. So on this file, I'm going to copy my image from CentOS 7. I'm going to run some light commands, run user add. Okay, I'm gonna say for user in, let me say Frank. Okay, do user add dollar user. Okay, echo the password. All right, pass wd dollar who dollar the user dash dash standard word in and done. Okay, so yeah, so what this line of command is doing, I'm creating a user, and at the same time I'm assigning a password, okay, to that user. All right, so I need to run other instructions. So apart from user, I need to install let's say yum update, then also after updating I need to do yum install, yum install uh, um, ms mysql, sorry, mysql minus y. Okay, so this is just very basic docker file. Okay, so I'm going to push save this docker file, committed. All right, so now I need to create the next file from our diagram, which is what? Jenkins file. Okay, Jenkins file that's going to build this docker file. All right, so go back to our repository and add another file. Add another file. So it has to be Jenkins file. Mind you, this file is case sensitive. Okay, capital J, Jenkins file. So pipeline agent is what? Any stages. We have the first stage. First stage is going to be, the first stage is build, which is building the image itself, right? Then it's a function and steps. So what are we doing? So I'm doing this. I'm saying Docker build target. Okay, I'm tagging it with the name of my Docker Hub registry. The name of my Docker Hub registry repository is Frankie's Info Tech slash, I will call this Gen demo, Jenkins demo. Let me just keep it short. Let me say Jenkins demo. Okay, that's okay. Then I'm tagging it. I'm using a version concept. All right. So I have what we call build ID. So let me just call column quotes quotes build underscore ID. All right. Quotes quotes dots. Okay. So this was I'll explain. So I'm saying I'm using Docker, the command docker build command, then I'm tagging this image. Now because of the docker file is present in the root directory, I'm using these dots. All right, the dots with is the dot there indicates that my docker file is present in the root directory. So that's all. That's all. If I still want to print my environment variables, I'll just say print env. So there I'm going to get the build id. So the build ID is a style or way of versioning, right? So I want to version this build. I'm going to close this step. I've closed this step. I'm also going to close this stage. I've closed this stage, all right? So I've closed this step and I've closed this stage. So we need to create another stage, which is the publish stage. So in this publish stage, I call this let me call it publish to Docker. Just keep it simple. Publish. All right. So I don't need this parts. That's fine. So I'm publishing. I'll say Docker push. Docker push. I'm pushing this to my registry. Remove this part. Sorry, this has to be because it is an environment variable. There has to be a dollar sign there. Okay. There has to be a dollar sign there. Okay. But before this, there's a function called with registry, with Docker registry. Okay, let's go and get that function. But before we get the function, there's a plugin we need to integrate in Jenkins. It's a Docker pipeline plugin. Let's go back to Jenkins, duplicate, manage Jenkins. So for you to integrate for you to be able to run Docker commands on Jenkins, you have to integrate that plugin. It's called Docker pipeline plugin. So let's check manage plugins. Let's see if that plugin is installed. Let's go to install and search for Docker pipeline. Oh, Docker pipeline is installed. So if it wasn't there, you would have installed it by going to available, click on available and type Docker pipeline. It's not coming up because it's already installed. All right. So you go to the install tab and type the same Docker pipeline. You should see that plugin. So we are good now. We are good. So the next thing, I'll click on this pipeline. It will take me to the official document of for the pipeline. So I'll click on README. So I'll go down and look for, yeah, I need this function. This function enables you to integrate your Docker Hub credentials into Jenkins. All right, it enables you to integrate your Docker Hub credentials into Jenkins. So I'll copy that line. I'll come to my Jenkins file. So I may have to define that here. Okay. So this is what I will do. I'll remove these parts and say with Docker registry. Okay. With Docker registry, I am going to define the credentials. Say credentials. Then I'll specify my credentials here, comma. Then if I have a URL, I'll also define that URL. But I don't have any URL. So this is what I will do. Okay. So now I may need to now go into my Jenkins and define this credential. Okay. So I'll go to my dashboard. All right. Back to Jenkins. Go to manage credentials. Click on manage credentials. All right. Click on Jenkins. Click on Jenkins. Click on global credentials. Then now click on add credentials. Okay. So quickly, so the kind of credentials I'm going to add, the kind is username and password. All right. Username and password. The username is Frankie's Infotech. That's my username to my Docker Hub registry. Then my password, I'll give my password. Then the ID, which is Docker, the ID, aka the variable Docker Hub. Let me copy this, make it. So that's it. So don't forget create. So I've created my Docker Hub credentials. So next thing I will do now, I'll come to my Jenkins file and I'm going to reference that credential I just created. So the credential is Docker what Hub. So this is all I need to do. This is a function. It goes in here. Okay. Okay. And yeah. So close that and also I've closed this function. I've closed these steps. I've closed this stage. All right. So the next thing we need to do now is to close this main stage and close your pipeline. So I'll come down and I'll close my stage and finally I'll close my pipeline. So this is all I need in my Jenkins file. So I just have two stages, the build stage and the publish stage. This build stage is going to build the image and the publish stage is going to publish the image to my Docker registry. So let's save it. Let's save this. Save it. Right, that's been saved. So now let's go back to our Jenkins dashboard and create a new pipeline. Right, click on new item. Click on new item. Let's call it Docker build. Call it Docker build and click on pipeline. Click on OK. So I don't need to do anything. I just need to click on the pipeline tab. It takes me to the pipeline section. I will change my um, definition from pipeline script towards pipeline script from SCM. So the SCM is Git. I'm saying Git because I've already installed the GitHub plugin. So yeah, I may have to define my repository URL. So I'll go back to my GitHub. So this is my Jenkins demo. Come to code and copy the HTTPS link. All right. Go back here and then paste that link here. There's no credentials. That's fine. Yeah. Then which branch are you building? I'm building from my main branch. Obviously, this only branch I have, main branch. So we'll go back and specify main. This is how it should be. That's all. Then your script part. Where is your Jenkins file? Where's your file located? The file is Jenkins. So the here that the so you should know that it is case sensitive. So this file should correspond what you have in your repository. The name should correspond. Okay, and it corresponds. So all I need to do is just to click on apply and click on save. So if everything goes fine, this pipeline should build. So click on build now. Click on build now. So it's doing checkout. So it's downloading from GitHub. It's now building. Let's see. Okay, it's failing. Let's see why it's failing. Console output. Let's see why it's actually failing. Okay, let's see why it's actually failing. Yum install MySQL this. Is it failing here? Yum updates. It's supposed to ask yes. Okay, all right. So let's look at this script part. Dockerfile. Let's go back to our Dockerfile. Dockerfile, because those are two different commands that are being run. So I may have to put minus y. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So let me commit and great. So let's run. We run the pipeline. We run the pipeline. Build. We can watch this as it's building. Let's click on the revision number. Console output. Let's see. Why is it taking this long? Why is it taking this long? Okay, update. So I'm going to pause it and be right back. Why is it taking this long? Login succeeded. Okay. Docker login. Say login succeeded. Docker push is trying to push. Let's see. Succeed. Success. Okay. Let's see. Let's go back. So the pipeline built, the pipeline ran. Okay. So let's go back to the let's go back to the console. Let's check what's happened. So this was the environment variable part. Let's check the tagging. Let's check the tagging parts. Um, Okay. Okay, tag Jenkins demo, build number two, gave it a number of two, Docker push, build number two. The push refers to this repository digest tool, and it was a success. Okay, said it was a success. So now let's go on Docker Hub and see if actually this guy built to Docker Hub. So I have my Docker Hub here, so I'm going to refresh my Docker. So let's refresh and see if everything goes as planned. Um, okay, you can see here Jenkins demo 2 minutes ago. So let's open that repository and go inside. So this is the revision number. This is the tag revision I. So sorry, the build ID. Okay, so you can see that we've successfully built build Docker image and push it to put and publish it to Docker Hub. Okay, so let me run this. Let's run this build pipeline one more time. And but for that we may have to use an automated style of running this pipeline. So I don't want to come here and click to manually click build now. So for this, I want to create a webhook. All right, I want to create a webhook. So for that purpose, I will hop to my GitHub repository. All right, go to my repository, which is Jenkins demo. Then I'll click on settings. So the webhook is actually used for automated to trigger your pipeline automatically. To automatically trigger your pipeline, you use webhook. So click on webhooks. Okay. So once you click on web, click on add webhook. Okay, and then you give the payload. The payload URL will be your Jenkins URL. From this part is your Jenkins URL. So go here and paste that. Once it's pasted, you type git hub minus webhook forward slash. Okay, so this is how your webhook will look like. Then the content type is application JSON. So this is all you need to do. Then make sure that the push event is checked. All right, so whenever there's a commit means pushing. So whenever there's a commit, the pipeline, the webhook should trigger and the pipeline should run automatically. So add a webhook. Let's see. Once this is added, this should show us a tick. If you see a tick here, it means that it is correct, or what you've added is correct. It says, okay, that hook was successfully created. We sent a ping payload to test it out. Blah 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 blah. Okay, so this is fine. So I may now go back to my Jenkins, okay, and edit my pipeline. So click on config to configure. Click on configure and then build trigger. On the build trigger section, I need to check something up. I need to check where is the hook trigger. Okay, now GitHub hook trigger. I need to check this option. Okay, I need to check this option. GitHub hook trigger for Git SCM pulling. So this is the option I need to check. Okay, so I just need to click save. So once you click on save, that's all. So that's all. So the next thing I need to do, I need to um, automate this process now. I need to trigger this process. So for that now, I'll go back to my GitHub and try and initiate a commit. So for that, I'll click on edit my Jenkins file. I'll just remove that space, remove this space and click on commit. So by committing, I've made a push. So once I've made a push, let's check our pipeline. Our pipeline should automatically trigger. You can see now, we have this guy coming up. I didn't click on build now. It was triggered automatically. Okay, it was triggered automatically. So that's it. So that's it. So this is how you create an unattended build process. Okay, by creating a webhook, by using the webhook trigger event. So let's go back to our Docker Hub. So let's refresh and look at the build ID. If the build ID is going to change. So let's see. So you can see. So this is the latest one few seconds ago. This was the previous one I did. Okay. So that's giving me a build ID of 3. So let's see where that was actually implemented. So this is where the build ID was being used. It was used from environment variable. You can use anything from the environment variable. I can decide to change it now. I can look at my environment variable. Let's go back to Jenkins. Let's go back to Jenkins, click on the revision number, go to build console, console output. Now let's look at the environment variable. So okay, build number, build ID. I can use git commit. There should be a git commit here. All right. Okay, great. So this is git commit. So in my next build, I want to use git commit. Okay. So I want to use git commit. So this is what I will do. I'll go to my Jenkins file and I will edit this file. I will edit this file. Then here I'll just say git underscore commit. So this I'm doing is to encourage versioning in my what in my builds. Is to encourage versioning git underscore commit. Okay, git underscore commit. So that's all. So the moment I click on commit changes, my pipeline will automatically trigger itself. It will automatically trigger itself. So if I come here, you see that I have the fourth build. Can you see? So this is the fourth build. All of these is possible because of I created a webhook. I created a webhook. So this is how we've at this juncture we've been able to okay, let's check what that's pushed to my GitHub repository. So if I refresh, I should get the third tag in the form of git commit, right? Git commit. So let's see. So you can see this is git commit coming in this format. So so far so good. We've seen how we we automated the process of building our image from GitHub to Jenkins and from Jenkins to Docker Hub, Docker registry. So in my GitHub, I created the Jenkins file, also created my Docker file. In my Jenkins, I've done some pretty definition and I have pushed everything to Docker Hub. So at this juncture, I thank you all for having the patience with me and I will encourage you to share and like and also leave your comments. All right, leave your comments and thank you, and see you in my next Friday teaser. Thank you and have a nice weekend. Love you.